r/ask Reddit. What's the biggest red flag when meeting new people? They don't really listen to you or pay attention to what you're talking about, but expect you to be totally engaged with whatever they say and act put out if you aren't. The distracting noise coming out of that other person's mouth stopped. Finally, it's my chance to talk about me. When they try to one-up you in everything you say. Or even worse than that, when they try to two-up everything you say. I see what you did there. When they're judgmental and critical of others, but never of themselves. You know my father? Yay, I seen him at the store buying milk a few years ago. They don't listen to what you say and respond accordingly. They only wait for you to stop talking so they can talk about whatever they want to talk about. I know people that don't even wait for me to stop. There's also the issue of people who won't stop talking in order for you to respond in any way. They have their own personal soliloquy. When they start talking about the tons of money I am going to be making with their new business venture and selling knives door to door. This knife will cut right through your shoes. Hi, my name is, and I'm an a-hole. Literally how the shop manager introduced himself to everyone, like it's an excuse. Oh god, this can duck right off along with the I'm just a blunt person I say it like it is group. Ugh, I have an employee like this. Most often, these people will dish out the meanest, vilest things about everyone else, but can't take the slightest criticism back. I've seen a lot of answers along the lines of when they say negative things about others, which I agree with BTW, but for me a huge red flag is when someone can't let someone else receive praise or be the center of attention. I've met people in the past who have shown small signs of jealousy when I've praised mutual friends, siblings, strangers, etc. And in each case it was indicative of bigger jealousy and self-esteem issues that led to some messed up stuff. The absolute worst is people trying to one-up another person's suffering. It's one thing to listen and say I have a similar experience, this is what it is so I can relate to what you're going through, but it's entirely another when it's you've sprained your ankle, I broke mine in 3 places and was on crutches for months. What you're going through is nowhere near as bad. Never, ever dismiss someone else's pain because you think you've been through worse. Asking me to PM them my ankle, massive red flag. When you barely know them and they act like your best friend, then later ask to borrow money. If they can't take no for an answer. Yep, I met someone, strictly platonic, recently who immediately got defensive when I said I couldn't take time away from my business at that time to do something social with them. They threatened to show up at my house and asked, what would you do then? There had been a bunch of red flags with this person leading up to this point, but that was where I was like, goodbye, psycho. That's not how any healthy friendship acquaintanceship works. Thank goodness I have enough good people in my life to recognize that. Subtle signs that they aren't remotely interested in you, and the only way you two are together is maybe because an obligation favor. People change their tune often when they have to conceal their feelings of disdain for someone. Everyone here talking about slightly negative people, but OP asked for the biggest red flag, so I'm gonna go with having a swastika scar on their forehead. Too much information too quickly. People who divulge too much about themselves from the offset generally have poor boundary issues. I speak from experience. I am a recovering poor boundary haver. You immediately start hearing from them about all the time other people have hurt them, betrayed them, or otherwise been a-holes to them. If everyone you encounter is an a-hole, chances are, you're the a-hole. Belittling their so in front of people but insisting it's a joke every time. Sadly in this situation I used to be the belittled so. I briefly had a friend like this. We all went out for drinks one night, and she relentlessly castrated her fiance while he just sat there like a kicked dog. Meanwhile, she outed my gay buddy to people we didn't even know that well. She thought the whole scene was just hysterical. Toxic beach right there. When they only talk about themselves. I hate that. They should be talking about me. When they say they like poopy. Run. Let's be honest. We often see these red flags but deliberately push on to form a relationship. If the relationship goes bust, we critique ourselves for not heeding the warning signs. This is an unjust self-criticism. More than 2 to 2 teardrops. I worked at a Hobby Lobby in some really big, Buff guy came in and came up to the register with 5 teardrop tattoos and purchased a pile of felt squares and a pack of sparkly stickers. That's a guy who probably suddenly turned his life around when he had a daughter. Uncommon, but not unheard of. Also, teardrop tattoos are the most painful to get removed. I have only ever met 2 men that I'm aware of who lied to me about their ages when we met. Both of these men turned out to be extremely unpleasant and abusive people. I dated one of them and knew the GF of the other one. I think people who lie easily even over trivial things tend to have very complex psychological problems and are best steered clear of. When they're instantly rude to, for example, waiters or strangers in general. Went on a date with a guy who was very condescending to the waitstaff. It was mortifying. He was confused as to why I never wanted to go out with him again. When they bring up topics out of nowhere just so they can spout their opinions and not actually have a conversation, it's very telling about their personality. What does it say exactly? I work with engineers who have to constantly prove they're smarter than everyone. Smart people don't go out of their way to prove they're smarter than everyone else. Your co-workers sound very full of themselves with a superiority complex. More generally, people who just give their opinions spontaneously on things no one asked about just for the sake of sharing their opinion often come off as arrogant and self-centered. Like, I know someone like this and she is the most cokey person I know. This one time, I was in the middle of a conversation with another person about astrology, something I know quite a few things about and who the other person expressed an interest in learning more about it, to tell us about what she thought of a concealer she bought. How they treat waiters, waitress, cashiers, janitors, bus drivers and everyone in the service industry. A coworker friend of mine left a bunch of trash at the cinema after we finished watching a movie. I angrily pick up his trash, chased him and told him to throw it away at the bin 3 meters outside of the cinema, and he replied, "Dude, why are you so Japanese? I did graduated from Japan. I'm just letting the janitors doing their job." No dude, it's not being Japanese. It's being having manners. Couldn't look at him the same way again ever since. If they are unaware of people around them in a social sense, like, they don't thank service staff or stand in the middle of crowded walkways and not move out of the way of others, congratulations, you have made friends with a toddler. This is not the biggest of red flags, just ones that have recently pissed me off. My ex was just like that. It was like she lived in her own little bubble. I really think it wasn't because she was a bad person per se. She just didn't seem to realize that the world didn't revolve around her. But it was really stressful going out with her because I'd always felt like I had to be twice as social, polite, aware to make up for her. I'm starting a communist revolution. To me that's a big red flag. One of my bosses once told me that whenever you start a new job position, that's usually the first person who tries really hard to be your friend is the problem child of the office. They'll usually start telling you of people to avoid as well. I've found this very useful. When you mention something you enjoy and they immediately put it down. I enjoy going on photography walks around cities. That sounds really ST. Okay, well, kindly get lost, Mr/Mrs. Stranger. Usually when people speak of having a lot of people in their life that somehow turned on them and now they don't speak anymore. I remember one old co-worker would become super fast friends with someone. Then within weeks, yeah, we don't really talk anymore once. He'll accept. Hell, even twice. But when it's 4-5 times over, guess what? It's not everyone else. If you won't let you get 2 words in before interrupting anything you say. If they nitpick your appearance or do a give and take. I just talked to a girl from a dating app who did that, and after I called her out for being very rude, she doubled down. It's a red flag for emotional abuse emo. I'm an alpha type, aka I'm a self-centered asshole who does know how or won't learn to behave in public. When they have no problem dishing about others, especially friends, in a hateful way, not only do I not want to hear what you have to say, but now I don't trust you. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.